Oh, that's attractive.
So having just watched the fourth Harry Potter movie and commenting on the acting therein, I was going like, dude, I could act better than that. Harry Potter crying over Cedric Diggory's body and looking like, you know, the sort of dry heaving acting of of Harry Potter.
He didn't vomit on him.
No, but like, I mean, come on, the guy, like, it looked like he was forcing up this stuff. It's not like he was really, you know, distraught over it. You know, when somebody's distraught, their hands shake. You know, their whole body goes into a whole reaction of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. There's gotta be something to it. I mean, come on. You know, I mean, it's a whole body trauma, and if you don't know that as an actor, it's like, come on, guys. Anyway, that's my rant this evening. Welcome to Drew's Acting Corner.
Okay.
Okay.
Since you were nitpicking at Harry crying over Cedric,
yes.
Okay, we're going to have Drew cry as different forms of crying, like Proud Drew and Asshole Drew and Cat Drew and.
Well, I mean, Cat Drew. Rare.
I don't think Causey's amused.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends on what character you're playing.
Okay, if you were Harry Potter, how would you have done it?
Well, if I was Harry Potter crying over Cedric
yeah.
Diggory, one, you'd have to be in shock. The first thing that you have to do is you have to present that you are in absolute shock.
Well, you're in shock, you're in pain because you're bleeding.
No, the pain has nothing to do with it. Believe me, when you're in that kind of shock, you don't feel anything but what's going on. Seriously, you could be mortally wounded in that kind of shock, and if you are focused on something, it's sort of like if you were focused on that Cedric Diggory had died and he's back, right? I mean, when we're talking about characters, and I mean, I guess when we're looking at motivating factors, you have to take into account what is the character's background that you're playing. The character's background in Harry Potter was his parents were killed by Voldemort. His life was extremely changed by Voldemort. Voldemort is his biggest enemy. Voldemort was playing with him, right? So he's completely in shock that Voldemort's back. And physically, like, I mean, can destroy his life, is going to destroy everybody's life. Also, having seen that Voldemort is firsthand is basically the serial killer mentality. He doesn't give a shit.
He's a sociopath.
Yeah, he's a sociopath. Okay, just the shock of everything that went on. Not only that, he's just seen his parents, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, here's a character who is completely and utterly on overload. Doesn't know what to do. Has no idea. The only thing that he can do is get the cup and Cedric Diggory. And him being, oh my God, it's back, he's back. I had to get Diggory here. He's back, don't, he's back. You know, and just completely give your body over to that, as opposed to the whole dry heave of what Harry was doing in the scene. Well, I mean, it was.
Are you obsessed with puking?
Kind of thing. and it was
but
just.
People cry different ways, though. Some people cry like they're dry heaving.
I know that, but you can tell the difference between. Oh my God, Gregory, Cedric,
There
we go, Cedric. Gregory. Okay.
Are you on drugs?
Probably. You know, Cedric's dead, and then collapsing from that. Mm-hmm. not knowing anything of what to do. I mean, what all Dumbledore was supposed to do was understand that he was beside himself. He was gone to the panic, right? I don't know if anybody's ever been there where they've been in such absolute overwhelm that you have no idea what to do. You want to do something, but you have no idea what to do, and the only thing you can do is search for the person that needs that to happen. Where's Dumbledore? Dumbledore's my only hope. Yes, right.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You're my only hope.
Okay. So the whole thing that Harry was doing there as an actor was faking it. And that's my problem with the movies, is that there's a lot of the faking going on, especially on the crying parts. And it's not, instead of touching the emotion, which is what the actor actually is supposed to do, and what I remember what they taught me in acting school, which was, what was it? It was that other form of acting.
Method acting?
Method acting, yes. Kind of more like methadone acting. But method acting, which is what they teach in schools, it doesn't do anything for you. I mean, it's one thing to be able to delve into an emotion. Seriously, it doesn't.
I know.
I watched those people method act. I looked at them and I'm going, huh? Because, again, they're trying to emulate an emotion that they see. They look at the body reaction. I mean, there's some method actors that can get there. So don't get me wrong, method acting can work. But the people that went through my course, they either had it or they didn't, really. And unless they were taken to a point where they could experience those emotions while it's happening. When you're acting, what you're doing is you're experiencing all of the emotions that are happening to your character through a filter that is your character and presenting them to the world, right? What would I do in this situation? Okay, well, what would Harry Potter do in this situation? Harry Potter's got a little bit more nerve than most people. But he's still a kid, and he's still going to be overwhelmed. Right? So how do you present that? And it's not about how do you present that, it's how do you access it. Because we all have it. And have you ever been through it? Or even something similar. See, this is what actors do, is you will find something and you say, okay, I've had a similar experience, or I've experienced something similarly. So if I put myself in this character's place, what would I be feeling? Or how did I feel about that before? Anyway, I'm giving an acting class, having taken one whole year of it. Drew's an expert.
What? You're not an expert? Did you lie to me again?
Well, not technically I'm not an expert, but I mean, like I said, the guy that plays Dumbledore doesn't really act that much.
You mean the second guy?
Yeah, the second guy. Richard Harris was an actor. Now, there was an actor that played Dumbledore to the T. He could, I mean, part of it, the big joke when I was going through acting school was, I am an actor, I have timing, right? But that's really true. I mean, actors have a good sense of how timing needs to happen.
Right.
Right? You don't go, let's see, give me a line.
That reminds me of the whole... You never saw Eddie and the Cruisers, did you?
No.
Well, there's a part where they're playing in this club and Tom Berenger works there.
Right.
And Eddie, the main guy, isn't happy with a break or one of the songs, and he's like... So Tom Berenger suggests they put a caesur in, like a pause.
Right.
So he's reading them, Arthur Rimbaud, and that's how he gets them all into Arthur Rimbaud, which...
Right.
It was a big, huge takeoff on the Doors, but that's another story. And so, yeah, man, we want it with the cesarean,
Well, I mean,
that kind of thing, and that was a good example of.
Well, I mean, you take a look at the last speech that he does in the Goblet of Fire here.
Yeah.
And I mean, how this guy delivers that speech, how this guy delivers that speech, and how Richard Harris would deliver that speech, is so completely different. And not only that, I mean, this guy sort of rambles through it. Blah, 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 blah. Cedric Diggory was a wonderful person. You know, I mean, there's just no depth there. It's like, I'm just telling you because that's my character. Because my character does this. As opposed to a character that does, you know, Cedric Diggory was... Because, you know, I mean, the difference between Cedric Diggory was and Cedric Diggory was is completely different contexts. One has... I'm making a bunch of statements about Cedric Diggory, and the other one is I'm telling everybody about the depth of who Cedric Diggory was. And so therefore, you know, those lines delivered like that are just, like, I mean, it makes me want to slap them, right? And, you know, I mean, it's different when you're on stage. I've never been on... I mean, I've been on stage, but I've never been doing a movie. I've never done any of that. Or
This coming from a guy who has Psycho Word on his t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, this coming from a guy that's really talking out his ass because I've never been there. Now,
Well, I've only been there once, and having to do it basically on your own, there's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing. You can hope for one thing, but you're usually going to come out with something different.
well, I mean, I don't know. The only play that I've ever really been in was The Lower Depths by Chekhov, and that was like the end of the school year play. And I happened to be a guy named Bubnov, who was a cop that was superior to begin with, and, you know, would patrol these guys that were these drunks that hung out down in this cellar.
Right.
And he was, you know, he was good guy, but he was superior to everybody, you know, and because he was a cop. And then at the end of the play, he ends up being one of the drunks, right? He ends up losing his job at the force for some unknown reason, and I don't remember it, and ends up being this drunk. Well, I mean, I remember when I was going through school how Tim Ryan, who was the head of the course, you know, was... You know, I mean, he never said this or that to me, really. But after...
This or that.
Yeah, this or that. After the play, he said, you know, you were fantastic in the play. I could not believe how you played that. You played the drunk guy really, really well, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, all through this, they're going, okay, you have to lie down and get in your character and... You know, all of this stuff, and be your character. I mean, and to me, it's just like, give me a break, you know. So I did all their stuff, because that's what they expected me to do. But I just did it.
Yeah, plays are a little bit different than movies, though.
Oh, definitely. And plays are a little bit but movies are easier than doing plays, actually. Because, one, you don't have to worry about forgetting your lines, because you can do another take. Right? And if you didn't like that, or the director didn't like that, and he wanted you to do it again, you would do it again. Right? Okay, this time I want you to emphasize this and not emphasize that. So part of the acting that you see there is actually the director.
Right.
Right? Some directors get their actors to be able to go further.
Right.
And some directors understand, you know, being actors, we were just talking about Clint Eastwood,
right,
understand what kind of emphasis needs to happen on that scene. And so therefore they create that with the actor. And they work with the actor. Other directors are not actors.
Right.
So, but I mean, to be able to, you know, just
that was great.
Just be a drunk, you know. I mean, what was I saying? I was saying, you know, I mean, it's not hard to be able to do that, as far as I can tell. But I mean, here I am coming from my superior attitude because I'm capable, right? It's like being able to be extremely angry.
That's what people think, you're arrogant.
Really?
Well, it's the whole confidence thing. They don't get it.
Well, I mean, it
looks like an air of superiority.
It's not an air of superiority. It's...
Well, and then you're so damn good at everything you try to do, so show off.
You know, I mean, what we were watching NYPD Blue.
No.
Yeah. You know,
Okay, you start imitating Dennis Franz, and that would be...
You know what? I couldn't.
I know you couldn't.
Now, I couldn't imitate him. I could do the part, and I could do it well. But
Okay.
he just hammered it down.
Okay, give me Sipowicz.
Give you Sipowicz. Let's see.
You can do drunk Sipowicz if you want.
Oh no, drunk Sipowicz is easy.
I know drunk Sipowicz.
No,
is
the other
easy.
parts, the other subtle acting that he does is very, very hard. And it's only
And he
hard.
gets angry, and it looks like his nose is gonna, pop off because it's flaring so hard.
Just give me a minute. No, I mean, and that was. But I mean, to be able to be somebody like that, I mean, I'm absolutely in awe of him.
Yeah.
Really, I am.
Okay.
Dennis Franz is fantastic as an actor,
course he
and
is.
I would have played the role a little bit different than he would have. But I mean, he was fantastic. His interpretation of who that person was.
Right. So if you can't give me Sipowicz, can you do Simone?
Oh, I haven't analyzed Simone.
No?
Again, it's
What about Kelly?
Just look the other way.
That's Kelly in those last few episodes.
Yes.
What about Medavoy?
No, I'm not going to do them unless I actually look at their characters.
Oh, Medavoy's easy. Just pretend it's Greg meeting Donna. You forgot the stuttering. the...
No, he just took a vow of silence.
Nobody was
Yeah.
trying to talk and no words were coming out.
Again, there are some parts that you really do have to study for.
Well, he did. He didn't even have a New York accent or a stutter.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but I mean, part of it is. I mean, part of acting definitely is research, but you have to be able to throw yourself into what the character's doing. I would have to study a little bit of Dennis Franz, like look at him as this is what I want to do, and see the way that unfolds for him. Again, I mean, method acting. There's something to be said about going and researching your part. Certainly, you must do that. But if you are a method actors generally go and live their parts, and that's the difference. Is they're trying to capture that instead of drawing from their own experience or their own innate understanding of what's going on. Part of a really good actor's psychology is they can understand what's going on psychologically for those other people when they see them. And that is a real big key component to actors being able to naturally do those things. When I play a drunk, I've seen lots of drunks and I've looked at them and I've watched them and I mean, so there I know the different types of drunks. I know the mean ones. I know, it's like they're all fun and games. What the fuck are you talking about? You calling me something? The mean drunks that are already ready for a fight, the different feel for that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a different feel for a drunk that is waiting for an excuse. Yeah, right. You want to go? You want to go? Let's go. The fuck do you think you are?
What about drunks who want to make people eat their wigs?
Okay, right. Those are drunks that are jealous of other people's stuff.
No, I think they're just trying to cause trouble.
No, they're not. They're really irritated that other people think they're superior to them. That's the psychology behind it. That's why he made him eat his wig. You think you're so fucking smart. And it's two egos going at it. That's why Sipowicz made him eat his wig. Because, it's like, you think you beat me in court. Well, fuck you. I'm going to show you what I can do. right?
Yeah, and then Jared Ellis shoots him in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. And the other guy says, "Well, fuck you. Watch this." But that's an ego war. That's an "I'll show you."
Right.
That's an easy one to sauce, not necessarily an easy one to act, because you have to be able to have that kind of ego. You have to get into the character and say, "Yeah." Yeah,
Eating my stomach.
let's see who the big man now is, huh? Come on! Shove that fucking wig up your ass, you fucking asshole.
So they can't swear exactly like that on TV.
Well, of course not. But that's the whole idea. It's like, I'm going to show you. I'm not saying that acting is something that you don't do research on. I'm not saying that acting is something that you can't run out and find. And that you do have to know your character, definitely. There are some characters that are going to be easy for actors and some characters that aren't. Dennis Franz had just sauced the role of that man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a man in conflict. He understood it. Now, whether Dennis Franz had his own battles with alcoholism or drug use or something that allowed him to really understand how this man is a very, very good man at the core and has always done his best to bring that goodness, but he also was taught a bunch of prejudices along the way, and because he is a good man, he understands that he wants to do better, and he wants to better himself, and he understands that he has these problems,
mm-hmm.
and that he's trying to get past them, like him giving Sylvia the and then I know you're gonna think that I did something like this, but it's it was a major bad gas leak, and no, you don't understand. It was and knowing that he's doing it, because
mm-hmm.
what Dennis Franz conveys is that he knows he's doing it,
mm-hmm.
and he's trying to justify himself to everybody, to Kelly, and
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't feel good you coming over because it was too unsafe for you. It's like, you have to know that your character understands that subconsciously, that he understands what he's doing and is trying to make up for it.
Right.
That's why I am so harsh on movies, because to understand what the underlying stuff for your character is, right, you have to be able to convey that to your audience without trying to convey it to your audience. You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the character. So, when they're talking about researching your character, stuff like that, well, from the standpoint of where I was taught to be an actor, it was, you're supposed to go out and do all this tons of research, which for me was just like, I read the play. I understood what my character understood. I understood the evolution of who my character was. I didn't have to go and study cops. I didn't have to go and do any of that stuff. Had I not really, had a good basis for watching cop shows, or, had any good, like they go, the actor motivation. What's my motivation, right? Make one up, right? All you have to do is make one up. But when I saw Bubnov's character from the beginning to the end, I read his stuff, I read the lines, obviously, because I needed to know them. You read the play, and you read how he interacts with everybody else, and how he's written, and you understand what his motivations are. He's shallow. He loves it that he feels important. Just like everybody that likes to be important. It's like, look at me, I'm important. And that's his whole life, is being important. His whole life is based on that. His whole worldview is based on the fact that he's important. And so when he falls, he becomes the absolute opposite of that. He becomes a drunk so steeped in it because he cannot even deal with his own downfall. right? And so, understanding that, you understand the character of Bubnov in the lower depths, right? Is he goes from one extreme, which is held up by a very, very fragile ego, and when that ego is pierced and he falls from grace, he falls down to the very bottom, which is why they call it the lower depths, right? He falls down to the very bottom of with the same people that he's been policing, right? So, it was a very easy character to sauce and to play once you understood that. And I mean, they're trying to teach people that in acting school to how to do that. Part of it is you have to see what the character is doing and how he relates to everybody else. Not everybody can do that. That is very definitely true. People do not know how to do that. I suppose the biggest thing for me was I didn't understand why they were teaching it because I already knew all that stuff.
Yeah, but not everybody knows it.
Again, my arrogance, because I am arrogant. My arrogance at the time was, what are you guys doing? You know, this is so easy. And again, it's not really that easy for most people that don't look at their own psychology. But, I mean, I've been looking at my psychology forever. How I interact, how I relate to other people, and how they relate to me. And how they relate to each other. Knowing that we're all pretty dumb. You know, me being among all the dumb people. Anyway, Harry Potter could have done a better job. The guy that played Harry Potter could have done a better job. They could have done a better job casting Dumbledore.
Yeah, but who do you get after Richard Harris?
Doesn't matter, as long as you had...
And Ian McKellen didn't want to do it.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't even matter. You can get... There was plenty of older British actors that could have filled that role just fine.
Like...
I don't know. I haven't researched older British actors. I'm sure that there was lots of them that could have filled that role just fine.
Like who? Anthony Hopkins?
I'm sure he could have done it.
It would have been weird having Hannibal Lecter as Dumbledore.
Well, I'm sure that they looked at that. But what about, what's his lips? Guy that played Elrond.
Hugo Weaving?
Yeah.
He's too young.
You can make a person look older.
No, but he's still too young.
But I mean, it's like, I'm sure that there's lots of actors that they could have picked for it. Mm-hmm. And they probably have lots of people audition for it.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, so, I mean, it was a question on who
was available.
Yeah.
Who was willing to do it.
Well, and of course it's Dumbledore. They want a high-profile actor if they can get one. Right? But I'm sure that there was probably a lot of lower-profile actors that could have done the job just fine. Mm-hmm. And done it better.
No, Richard Harris wasn't that high-profile.
No, but he was a fantastic actor.
Well, yeah, of course he was.
You know what I mean?
High-profile. They originally wanted Ian McKellen.
Right.
But...
he didn't want to play another wizard.
No.
Right. And Ian McKellen might have actually done the job justice, because if he would have gone to Dumbledore, because literally this guy is playing Ian McKellen's character as Dumbledore.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
When you look at it, that's what he did. Is he took Ian McKellen's character and he brought it in and made it Dumbledore, and it doesn't work.
No, Gandalf is definitely not Dumbledore.
No, Gandalf shouldn't even be anywhere close to Dumbledore.
No.
And that's one of the things that I saw, is that this guy actually took Ian McKellen and pulled him into this role as him, and it didn't work. I think Ian McKellen would have taken Dumbledore and played Dumbledore, but not Gandalf. The problem that you would have is everybody would see him as a Gandalf.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's...
But also, Richard Harris did capture Dumbledore very, very well. Down to the voice. I mean...
Yeah.
He didn't get angry. He was very confident.
Yeah, Dumbledore wasn't anything like this guy. This guy was really Gandalf. And Gandalf should not have been Dumbledore.
No.
You know, I mean, to a great degree, actually, Ian McKellen did a better job at caring than this guy. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, later on in the movies, you see this guy try and be caring. It doesn't work for the character. The character is not that. Now, if you come at Dumbledore from a standpoint of extreme confidence, not cockiness, but something that comes with old age, which is what Richard Harris captured, is a confidence and a not...
Well, and also being a very fastidious actor.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article about, I think when they were filming the first movie, and they were scheduled to do one scene, and then they ended up wanting to do another scene instead, and he got all pissed off because he'd rehearsed for the other scene, and he hadn't rehearsed for the one they wanted to do instead, and so, he refused to do it because...
Yeah, because he wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. He wanted to make sure he was ready.
He wanted to get into the mindset of that other character, and I mean...
He didn't want to do it half-assed.
Yeah. There is something to be said from that.
Older British actors. Now you got my mind going.
But, I mean, Richard Harris...
Too bad they couldn't have got Sean Connery.
He wouldn't have been a good Dumbledore.
Dumbledore with a Scottish accent.
Scottish accent. Well, this guy would have a Scottish accent if you could hear it. But no, I mean, it's... Dumbledore's relaxed. He's not a high-tension person. He's got a confidence and a relaxation about his person because he is so confident in his abilities.
Right.
And confident as a person. And that's what this guy doesn't convey. He conveys a man of action.
Okay, well...
I'm a man of action. Dumbledore wasn't a man of action, but he was. He was just a man of understanding and knowing where to go. Mm-hmm. You don't see the side of Dumbledore where he becomes more attached and more confused until the end of Order of the Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Where Harry's godfather dies, Sirius dies, and Dumbledore has to tell him that he's grown fond of him and attached to him. Mm-hmm. And to say that he held himself at a distance because of, and to show that he's human.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is all through that is there's this confidence and understanding and solidity to his character. And then all of a sudden he has to show Harry that he's not as solid as it is. I mean, if you really take a look at it.
Stuck.
Oh.
Help. That's what I get for playing with my hair. Just turn the thingy.
That would help if I could.
Ow.
Sorry, I'm not trying to hurt you.
I know.
I'm trying to turn the thing. It keeps going back in.
I know it keeps going back in. I have enough trouble doing this by myself when I can see where it's stuck. It's really bad is when this happens when you're, driving.
Yeah?
Yeah, because then you just have to go,
No, you don't.
My hair's done up too tight. I can't do that.
Do you want me to undo your hair?
No.
Damn it. It keeps going back in today.
I know.
Here, hold on.
What?
My pliers.
Pliers? What are you using pliers?
Oh, I need pliers.
What do you need pliers? It's just my hair.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to call them Mounties.
Well, I can't turn it, right? It keeps slipping through my fingers.
There. Okay, crisis averted. I really got to clamp those down.
But if you look at the parallel, it's very much like...
Ooh, it's all pulled out. Okay, anyways.
If you look at the parallels, it's very much like what I come across as. I come across as very, very confident, very, very all of this stuff. But in private, I'm not always that confident.
Don't tell me you also sing a rendition of MacArthur Park.
I don't even know what that is.
The song MacArthur Park. Richard Harris sang it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. No, I don't sing a version.
Okay. Well, there we go.
It's Dumbledore. But, I mean, no, the Dumbledore character is that. It's very confident, has a lot of confidence in himself and his abilities, but understands that his brilliance will also trip him up.
Mm-hmm.
I do the exact same thing. I just go, I'm very confident about stuff and stuff like that, and then I'm proven wrong. Or then I recognize that I'm wrong, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I have to, eat feather. I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, there's a part of me that scoff at some of the actors that are out there because they're getting into these high-profile roles and they're just not doing a good job. And it maybe, even so, like I saw when Kurt Russell did the acting job in Stargate, the first one, the original Stargate. His character bit. And I was surprised because Kurt Russell is a very good actor. I've seen him in lots of stuff. I've liked him.
I thought he was okay in Stargate.
That's right. I thought he was okay. He was just... There was nothing that he had. There was nothing that he could act with the character that he had. It was a Marine that lost his wife or something.
His son.
Whatever.
He was suicidal.
Yeah. And he just sort of played this dumbfounded character throughout the entire thing.
He wasn't dumbfounded.
Well, I know. But, I mean, I saw it a long time ago, so my judgment on it was like, what? The only person that could act was James Spader.
Well, yeah, but that's because James Spader's,
a very good actor.
Yeah, he was even good in Pretty in Pink when he was playing the dickhole.
When I got out of that, I said, the special effects in this, because it was the special effects extravaganza. It was one of the top movies for that at the time. And when I got out of that, I went, I really liked The Archaeologist, but everybody else sucked, and I'm surprised because I like Kurt Russell. But I mean, not every actor or not every role is going to be one. And maybe Kurt Russell was following the director. Right? The director said, nope, this is what you got to play. And Kurt Russell probably went, well, but yeah, my character, nope, this is what I want you to play. Mm-hmm. Right? So sometimes the actor doesn't really have a choice.
Right. That is true.
The director wants it this way, and so he acts it that way. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, God, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but it's however millions of dollars.
I agree. But, I don't know. I mean, there's actors and there's actors. I think Brad Pitt is one of those actors. I think that Brad Pitt can act almost anything that he does. Mm-hmm. I think that I've seen Brad Pitt in a lot of movies, and I haven't been disappointed once by his acting ability. I haven't been in a position where I said, oh, that wasn't believable.
The Mexican was kind of hokey.
I never saw it, so... Never saw that one. Was that him and Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts, she gets kidnapped by James Gandolfini.
Oh, and he's playing a doofus kind of thing?
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of it, but I went, meh. But again, part of it could be the way the character's written, and...
True.
I mean, it's like...
Well, it was directed by the same guy who directed Pirates of the Caribbean, so...
a little bit more Hamish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, 7 Years in Tibet, he was great.
He was fantastic. Well, anything
River
that
Runs Through It, he was good.
Well,
Devil's Own.
Devil's Own I never saw.
It was good.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I thought he did a great job.
I didn't see that.
It was a hammy, but cute.
Well, I mean, even Snatch, he was good in Snatch.
No, Snatch, he was amazing in Snatch. And
I can't understand a thing he's saying, but...
Well, but that's the thing with
Legends
Brad
of the
Pitt
Fall.
when he's Legends of the Fall.
Interview
He was
with the
fantastic.
Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire.
I mean,
he
even
did
Tom
a great job.
Cruise was good in that.
But I mean, it's like you have an all around actor that can fit any role. Well, I mean, that's talent. That's not research. That's not, it's like, do you have the talent? Did I have a talent to be an actor? Yes, I did. Did I choose that? No, I didn't. I didn't want to pursue that. That, how do I say this? Pretty flaky. I went to school with a bunch of actors. All of them were acting all the time. I mean, they took on one character or another. They were never real people.
Mm.
They just went, oh, character to do this, character to do that, oh, character to... So they ended up being these actors. They weren't really real people, or they didn't trust anybody to be real people. So that was my tough thing. It was like me looking at all of these people going... Well, I mean, there's natural actors. Like, I mean, Damien, who ended up discovering he was gay. Well, while we were there. Like, I didn't know it to begin with. But, I mean, he came right out of graduating high school, going into this theater arts program. He was a fantastic actor. Absolutely natural talent. And gay, right? I think gay people do have a better access to, they have better access to their emotions, and I think that was the big deal. Gay guys especially have way better access to their emotions. But, I mean, there was some natural actors, and I'm not a natural actor the way that this kid was. This kid was just like, he was exuberant, and he acted, and when he did it with every ounce of his ability. Mm-hmm. And, but he was also a stage actor. He loved the stage. Mm-hmm. I've never been interested, right, on that level. It all seemed too hokey and hard for me. I mean, now you gotta impress everybody, and then you gotta do what they tell you to do, and then you gotta, it's like, I just don't do that well. What they tell me to do. No. It's one thing to conform to something that needs to happen. It's another thing to have those kind of egos control what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's sort of like, one of the things that I absolutely disliked about the theater arts course was when Tim Ryan would come to our class when he was we were doing the lower depths, and then fall asleep while we were doing the blocking and all of that stuff. I mean, basically we did it ourselves, which was fine. I mean, really, on a level we were fine with that. But what are you supposed to do? But you're still at the whim of the directors. I remember Peter coming back to me because he did second year. I only did first year. He came back to me in second year, and he said, we were practicing all of this stuff. Tim Ryan was our guy that we were doing the first play of the year, and they were doing all their blocking and stuff like that. And Tim had to, got sick or had to go somewhere or something like that. And then his wife came in and redid everything. And this was like 2 weeks before we were going on.
Oh.
Redid everything, he said. Redid all the staging, and now we had to learn everything all over again. Mm-hmm. Because she wanted to make it hers.
Oh, God.
Or she thought Tim was wrong or whatever. And who cares? Right. It's like, I don't want to be at that kind of whim.
No.
And I don't like having that kind of pressure on me. It's like, ugh, thanks anyway. It's one thing to be able to, like, I mean, cinema stuff, yeah, you're at the whim of the director and all that stuff.
Yeah, they also have something called pre-production.
Yeah. But you've got pre-production, you've got specific scenes that you're doing each day.
Right.
You've got... all of the stuff that you've got, I mean, I remember talking to or listening to somebody talk about being in the room with a professional actor, and they, when they came in, had all of the lines down, right? Because you'd do a round and you'd do a reading, right? And that professional actor came in and they already knew all the lines. They had already done all that work. Knew the character, knew how they wanted to say it, what they should be doing, because they did it already, right? But when you're a seasoned actor or seasoned musician or a seasoned anything, if you've been doing something for a long time, you will walk in and make it look easy because you've done it so many times. It's like me being a DJ. I will walk in, no stress. There's just no stress because I've done it. Even if I screw up, there's no stress. There is, but it looks like I don't have stress.
Right.
And so, because I'm so meticulous and I know what's going to happen, how it needs to happen, and what I need to do. Same thing for anybody in the acting field. Same thing for anybody in the musician's field. When you know exactly where your fingers are supposed to go on that guitar, when you are so absolutely supremely confident in your power and ability to do things, there's just no thought to it anymore. You don't have to think about it. You just go and do it. And it makes it look easy because you've done it for so long. And it doesn't matter if somebody throws you a different song, right? Say, oh, okay, Drew, sing this one. Well, if I marginally know it, I can make it sound at least decent, right? But that's just because I'm confident in my singing ability and my listening skills, and because I've been doing it for so many years.
Right.
Somebody that hasn't been doing it as often as me would have a tougher time. So, that's the whole thing, is when you get a seasoned actor that's been doing it for a long time, they just make it look easy. Okay, turn it off.
Turn off? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? What do you have planned?
Nothing. I have to go to the bathroom for one.
Gee, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.